Let's continue the discussion on weight loss now and turn our discussion from mindset onto the fundamental law of weight loss, strictly from a more scientific point of view. Weight loss occurs as a result of an energy deficit, and an energy deficit is where you are expending more calories than what you are consuming. Energy, I'm sure you're familiar with it, is measured by the calorie or the kilojoule. 1 calorie equals approximately 4.2 kilojoules. So if you're ever looking at a nutritional panel on a food product, simply divide or multiply by about 4 and you'll get the calorie or kilojoule equivalent. You've got energy in and energy out, and we want the energy out to be larger than the energy in order for weight loss to occur. Your energy in is predominantly from the food that you consume, and the food that you consume varies greatly in calorie density. For example, you could consume a Big Mac from McDonald's, and this is over 500 calories typically. So that's a fairly substantial amount of energy, especially when you consider that an apple is around 80 calories. The typical person will expend well and truly over 1,000 calories within a day without performing any exercise at all. So it is very important to moderate the foods that you consume. When you look at food itself, there are 3 macronutrients, and they are fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. These macronutrients are the main constituents that do account for the total calorie or kilojoule composition within a food. Fats typically contain 9 calories per gram. It's a little bit off that, but that's a good estimate. Fats and proteins and carbohydrates contain about 4 calories per gram. So you can see here that fats are more than twice as dense in energy than proteins and carbohydrates. Therefore, a food that is high in fat will typically be significantly higher in energy than carbohydrate and protein-rich foods. A prime example of this could be some nuts, and nuts can typically be about half fat and about a quarter protein, whereas a fruit such as a banana is very high in carbohydrate. So the equivalent amount of nuts is going to be, in weight, is going to be a lot more calorie dense than the equivalent weight in a banana. Now, that's the energy inside of things, and it is very important that you do familiarize yourself with calories and your calories in. So be sure to review the nutritional panel on the foods that you consume, and on the unpackaged foods where there isn't that nutritional information available, I would highly recommend to go through our nutritional database at aminoz.com.au and just go through those foods, understand what foods are higher in energy, what foods are lower in energy, and what combination of foods is necessary in order to accomplish your weight loss goal. The flip side to the equation is your energy expenditure. And your energy expenditure can be measured through a number of mediums. It's not just through exercise. Exercise is a big contributor to energy expenditure, but we have other considerations as well. Meal frequency can affect your metabolism and the number of calories that are expended each day. Also, well, your basal metabolic rate is how many calories that your body must expend each day in order just to survive. So there are a number of different areas that calorie expenditure is affected by. But the main area that I do want to discuss, and the one that we have probably the greatest control over, is exercise. Now, exercise is a big contributor to calorie expenditure. You can exercise through a number of mediums, and the 2 main ways of exercising are through cardiovascular training and also resistance-based training. There is a bit of a fallacy out in the fitness industry, or more a misconception, that cardiovascular training is the form of exercise that you must perform in order to lose weight. And this simply isn't the case. Exercise in itself expends energy. You must expend energy in order to create force. So any movement that you perform is going to increase your calorie expenditure and therefore encourage a further calorie deficit. Therefore, both cardiovascular training and resistance training are going to be effective for weight loss. Resistance training certainly is not exclusive to muscle development or muscle gain and weight gain. Now, both cardio and resistance training are highly effective for weight loss. Cardiovascular training, of course, you can expend a high number of calories within a fairly short period of time and therefore encourage a considerable calorie deficit, which is necessary for weight loss. Of course, resistance training can do the same. And one big benefit about resistance training is that it can induce muscle synthesis or muscle growth. And muscle has the unique ability of expending a relatively large number of calories as compared to fat tissue. So if you have an increased degree of muscle mass on your body, just by resting, your metabolism will be burning a heightened number of calories each day. This, of course, is very important to create that calorie deficit so you have a greater calorie expenditure than your calorie consumption through food. So they are the two main areas that you do need to consider when you are losing weight. As you can see, there's no real secret to weight loss. You do need to consider your intake from food and your expenditure, which is predominantly from exercise. Of course, there are other considerations, and we'll discuss those in subsequent blogs. Now, to go through nutrition, I would suggest that you check out our nutritional information database. It's on our website at aminoz.com.au. Go through the database there, review through some foods that you consume regularly, and just familiarize yourself with the calorie density in each of those foods. You'll notice that just by reducing the portion sizes, you'll be reducing your energy intake, and this can be very, very important to create that calorie deficit that you're looking for in order to accomplish weight loss. Of course, exercise is also very important, and while we'll be talking about exercise in a lot more detail in subsequent blogs, because it is such a large topic, the things that you can do are to increase the intensity of your exercise, increase the duration of your exercise, and try different formats of exercise as well. There are different forms of exercise that will increase your calorie expenditure within that same given period of time, and often this will come as a result of a heightened level of intensity. The other benefit of exercise is that you will be expending calories after your exercise has been completed, and this will be accentuated if your duration and your intensity is increased. The last point that I do want to make is that you must track your progress. Now, if you're following a particular approach, nutritionally and exercise based, track it. Follow your weight loss, take a few measurements, make sure you are seeing reductions in those departments. If you're not seeing progress, then you're not creating a substantial calorie deficit in order to accomplish the weight loss goals that you want to obtain. So be sure to measure on a weekly basis, and then if you're not making that progress that you desire, you either need to decrease the number of calories that you're consuming or increase the number of calories that you're expending through exercise. I hope you enjoyed this blog. We'll be going into these topics in a lot more detail later down the track. Of course, there are a large number of articles available through our website and, of course, through the AminoZ blog, so be sure to check them out too in the meantime. All right, thanks very much for spending the time to go through this blog, and I hope you have gained a lot of information from this.